Hey everyone, my name is Jawad and I am someone who you would call a wantrepreneur. If you don't know what that means, this is somebody who talks constantly about making money online or starting a new business, but unfortunately has nothing to show for it. But hopefully now that changes. If you ask anybody around me, my friends, my family, they would likely confirm that the topic that really gets me excited is if it's about making money or if it's starting a business or building an app, anything that creates money. And I've been in this unhealthy obsession for quite some time now. And I hope to change that with Ali Abdaal's $1,000 challenge. Let's go back a couple of years. Like most of the people around me, I thought the only way to really make money was a 9 to 5 job. And the way you do it is you get educated, you further invest yourself in terms of developing skills, getting new education, getting new certifications, climbing up the corporate ladder until you're making enough money that you can invest and save to retire comfortably. And I had that worldview until the pandemic happened. And when the pandemic happened, and the job insecurity that came with the early days of the pandemic, everybody was talking about how many jobs were going to be lost. And many people did lose their jobs. It was really, really scary. And my whole worldview of retiring with a 9 to 5 job changed. And I started thinking about what are the different ways of me accumulating wealth and retiring comfortably. So I first started with investing. I studied about investing. How did that work? Got into a little bit of crypto investing as well. But after investing, putting together some amount of money, I realized it still wasn't going to be enough to retire comfortably and sustaining the lifestyle that I had for me and my family. And then so I started exploring other ways in which I could make money. And one of those paths to financial freedom was becoming an entrepreneur, starting a business, building an application or something like this. And that led me and some of my friends to come together and start working on an application. And being the builder that I was, coming from a tech industry background, I just immediately went into writing requirements document, writing down the specs of the application that I wanted to build without testing it with any customers or getting any feedback from the market, and spent some money in developing that application. But unfortunately, when we were done with the application, me and my co-founder, we realized we did not know how to get the first users. And that was a big oversight on our part. We thought that outsourcing marketing would be an answer to all of our woes, but unfortunately that did not work. And I mean, over time, it died a slow death. But that led me to the path of exploring this whole idea of marketing and how it works on the internet. And I dabbled into all sorts of podcasts and books and content, especially from Alex Hormozi, Daniel Priestley, and Ali Abdaal as well. And in the beginning of 2025, I finally decided that I was going to build a personal brand and I was going to start selling things on the internet. So I first started with creating YouTube videos. I thought that would be my way of building a personal brand. But creating YouTube videos takes a hell lot of time, and especially with my 9 to 5 job and my everything that I've got going on in my life, it became really, really difficult. My workflow for producing YouTube videos was slow. And then, because of my obsessive nature, couldn't get past making things not perfect. And that led to me dropping off YouTube videos. But while I was making YouTube videos, I got in touch with a group of other people who wanted to build businesses. And together we started brainstorming what could be a good idea or ideas where we could generate some money online. And with that group, I started creating online videos, short videos primarily. And I had some ideas, especially around marketing, digital marketing, that I could probably monetize. I did that for a long time. I think, well, not a long time, a couple of months. But after a couple of months, I started having this imposter syndrome because I did not have anything that I had delivered in real life. And because of that imposter syndrome, I stopped doing that as well. And so after spending all this time and trying to do all these different things, albeit not very consistently, I was just haunted by the question that do I really have the skills to make any sort of income online in addition to the job that I have, or am I just going to be a wannabe entrepreneur for my life? Or am I just not qualified enough? Or I don't have the personality, the skills, the everything that is required to become an online entrepreneur. So I think serendipitously, that's around the same time I started watching Ali Abdaal videos again, and I saw in one of his videos he announced the $1,000 challenge, and I was like, wow, this is serendipity. And I would love to join this challenge because I think a couple of things about this challenge are really, really good. One, that it sort of lowers the expectation, lowers the barriers. I mean, when you're thinking about making money online, the figures that you have in mind is 10,000. Like that's the minimum figure that you have in your mind. But participating in a challenge like that, you realize that of course, to make $10,000 online, you will have to make first $1, and then $10, and then $100, and then $1,000. But it just lowers the expectation of how much money you can really generate online, and that I think that gets rid of any angst that you feel of not making a really large amount of money directly on the internet, and gives you something realistic to chase after. Also really like that it's an action-based structure, that you do not unlock the modules in the future unless you've gotten a very tangible result in the first missions. There's also the fact that you've got this community support, and it feels good to know that there are many other people that are on the same boat as you. And finally, it makes success really transparent, black and white, binary, because either you're going to make money or you're going to not. There's no in between. So I really like those 4 elements about this challenge. One, that it lowers the expectation. Second, that it is action based. Third, there's community support. And fourth, there's a very clear success criteria. And immediately after joining the challenge, I got confronted with this introduction thread, and it had 3 questions that really opened my mind. The first question was, what would you sell as a digital product for $10? Come up with 3 ideas. What 3 services could you sell for $50 an hour as consulting? And lastly, if you were to sell $1,000 product or consulting to a business, what would that be? And I came up with a few ideas, typically related to the things that I already know, and them being consulting, marketing, something to do with funnels, reviewing funnels. So that really opened up my mind, and I think I'm going to carry these ideas forward as I go through the rest of the challenge. I'm not going to get into the details of what those ideas exactly are. Not that I want to hide those or anything, but I want to share them when the right time comes, in terms of, because I do also want to listen to the instructions that are given during the program and then refine them that way. But okay, what the hell? I'll talk about them. So for the $10 product ideas, what I have in mind is that one, funnel marketing guidebook, like an ebook, something that I've learned this year. Then second, if I could get AI to review the marketing funnels for other businesses, a guide for that. And then a consulting playbook for AI or tech deployment, because that's what I've done in my career for a long, long time. Those would be the $10 product ideas. And for the $50 per hour consulting, I think I would again teach how to consult, because that's what I've done. Or I would do consulting for somebody who wants to deploy tech. Maybe they want to include AI in their business but don't know how. What are the right steps to go about it? I can help with that. And then $1,000 business product, I was thinking something around funnel analytics and digital marketing would be my idea, like deploy something that analyzes their funnels, how successful they are, and what gives them insight into how they can improve them. So really the assets that I can monetize is one, my consulting knowledge, my marketing knowledge, and funnel analytics ideas that I have. Now, why am I building this in public? I think for many businesses, especially for solopreneurs, cold start is a real problem. And by building in public, you sort of hope to build an audience that basically watches your journey, and hopefully they're interested in the topic that you're building, whatever you're building for. For example, marketing. If I'm building something for marketing, then people who are interested in marketing, or they think that marketing can help their businesses, they would probably be interested in it, and they will follow this journey along. And hopefully when I'm ready with a product which is valuable, they will be able to get it from me. They will be able to try it out. So I'm hoping by the time I'm done with this, I am come up with something that hopefully some of you are interested in. And also this time I'm approaching YouTube a little bit differently. I am going to make sure that it is value heavy, but it's easy to produce. So not a lot of editing like this video. I'm going to do less formal scripting. And finally, I'm going to just focus on the fact that I'm documenting my journey and not try to create any sort of viral content. Of course, there are going to be challenges. I know myself, and I have some level of self-awareness of what my challenges could be. So I think the number one challenge is going to be time. I've got my 9 to 5. I've got my responsibilities as a family member that I need to look after. Like many people, I spend a lot of time doom scrolling and watching a lot of content. And then, the thing is, every time I'm stuck with a challenge, my first thing is to go find content about it and try to learn as much as I can. And that usually wastes a lot of time. And I want to avoid that this time. So really not getting into any sort of content consumption outside of what is really, really required when I'm stuck in a problem, perhaps. Or maybe I just stick to the content that is offered in this program, in this challenge, and not consume anything outside of it. That could be a solution. So time management is going to be problem number one for me. Problem number two is going to be consistency. From my past experience, I've not been consistent and focused. Unfortunately, that has been true. So until I reset my expectations of how much time is going to be required, how much time should be put in before I get any sort of results, I will not be consistent. I mean, intellectually, I understand that things take time, but I still can get impatient. So I need to find a way to manage that. And lastly, my emotional state. I'm not very well at handling rejections or failures. And usually when I don't get the outcome that I want, I usually go into this mode of self-reflection and doubt and all sorts of over-analysis. But to be able to get to my first dollar, my first $10, my first $100 and $1,000, I'm gonna have to seek rejections, as Noah Kagan says in his book. I'm gonna have to collect them. That's gonna be difficult. So managing my time, making sure that I'm consistent and focused, and lastly, managing my emotions would be the three biggest hurdles I expect along the way. Why am I sharing this? Why am I sharing this? Because I've been unhealthily obsessed with making money online for a long period of time. And I need to prove myself whether I can do it or not. And I do not really care if anybody watches me fail publicly, or because I don't think, frankly, people would care. Certainly, I don't think anybody that I know would watch this and care. Maybe some of you face the same issues that I do, or will face the same issues that I do along this journey. And perhaps then I can learn from you, or you can learn from something that I do. And then we move along together in this journey. That's primarily it. So my tools to go through this challenge would be to create commitment. And the way I'm going to do that is I'll remind myself that I need to focus. I need to work a lot consistently. I'm not going to look for efficiency in the beginning because I'm just figuring out how to do things. I just need to stick with it long enough and not give up. And eventually I know I'm going to be able to get to the target, and win this challenge. So if that's interesting to you, stick along. Watch all phases of it, the successes, the failures, and everything in between. If you want to see a Wantrepreneur try becoming an entrepreneur, then stick along and subscribe.